I'm Angela Scappatura from Canadian HR Reporter TV. This week's guest is Ferio Pugliese. He's the Executive Vice President of People for WestJet Airlines, and he spoke with us about developing a company culture. So how do you define the culture at WestJet?
And if I had to put it in some simple terms, it's really built around inclusion, involvement, and transparency. That's really how I define the culture at WestJet. It's something that is hard to put on paper, one that we've struggled with trying to come up with some real hard definitions of what our culture is. We have come up with an internal tagline that defines our culture and that employees actually work through and look at, and it's called "We Succeed Because I Care." And the concept around "We Succeed Because I Care" is working as a team about all of us succeeding, but the whole point of focus is the I is built on personal accountability. And that came about from discussions we had with employees, because we went down a path after about 10 years of business of saying, we've got a great corporate culture, what does it mean? And so we asked employees, and everybody had a different perception of it. One employee wrote on the side of a piece of paper, I think it means this. And when we looked at it, we said there's a lot of hidden meaning in that. So to us, culture is defined by some of those facets I just gave you. But we constantly define our culture by telling the stories of the things that people are doing day in and day out to make the company better, in particular from a guest experience point of view.
Tell me a little bit about the strategy that you have for communications.
Well, one of the things we talk about in culture, we have 5 secrets to creating a culture that cares. And one of the first facets of creating a culture that cares is this concept of care to plan. And so that whole concept of communication comes under the hub of care to plan. Because what we view is culture doesn't just happen. Fear, frustration, political mayhem, all those things happen in an organization if you don't attend to it. Culture is very deliberate. So when we talk about using things like social media, it's a very deliberate attempt to get information out to employees through a venue, one source, and we use many, but it's one source where people can actually feel comfortable communicating and interacting on. So in our environment, average age is 34. Social media technology is something that we know the demographic of our work group is very comfortable using and interacting with. So it's helped us gauge where our culture is, what the hot issues are, if there are anything that we're doing that we think is contravening, either our core values or our strategy. Employees will tell us that. They tell us that vocally to our faces, but we tend to hear more through that social media component lately. And it's allowed us a chance to get information out in a more mass format. So it's been very successful, and it's one we've actually stumbled upon with great debate. So
you say that there's been some debate. Tell me a little bit about the challenges you've faced.
I mean, the immediate reaction when you go into social media is, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to create forums and blogs where employees can go on and have a rant, whether it's a positive rant or a negative rant about the company? And our view is they're going to rant anyway. Transparency is a tough thing to prevent. I mean, when information is out there, what we found, social media allows you to get it out there. If I use a stat I heard, there was 50,000 blogs, in 2002. Today, there were 17,000 blogs in 2002. Today, there are 54 million blogs. And that was through the mid part of 2007. So it just tells you that information or news is stale dated from the time it's communicated from one human being to another. So what we found with social media is, as soon as we know information, it's a good chance for us to get things out through a network that allows us to get innovative, allows us to get information out to employees so they can make decisions, and also gives us a chance to hear what they're thinking and they're feeling coming back. But some of the restrictions that came back from that is, there is a reluctance to say, well, this means people can just speak their mind openly on some form of an electronic forum that anybody in the world can see. And we're okay with that, because the point of focus is what they're talking about is our business, and it's more important to us. And if others want to tap in and get some joy and interest out of reading that, fine. But what it's doing for us is it's giving us some insight as the things that, as leaders, that we could be doing differently and better. So we've had some success with it.